welcome to lecture number 29 of GE 103. So from last class, we were discussing the concept of pointers, and and if we see the previous week, I have only uploaded a single lecture, and that one major reason for this was the occasion of Diwali. So I thought let us not put more pressure on you. So last week I've uploaded only one lecture. Again in this week I'll upload three more lectures. So I'll try to complete the concept of pointer by this week, and so the next week I'll cover the concept of file handling and some other interesting concept of C. And then after the next week, from next week, I'll start explaining the concept of data structure, because by next week I'll complete all the uh, concept, all the things related with C programming. Okay, so let us start with this pointers and array. So if we see here in this chapter for pointers and array, this is how a array is declared as well as initialized, right? You know this syntax. So if when we declare a array like this, many times I mentioned this in my previous lecture, that when we just mention x, and then we say that x is the base address of this array. So let us again start from this line. So if you write a line like this in your program, then the moment this line will be executed, a memory will be allocated for this array in your computer memory. How memory will be allocated? So it's, if you see here, the size of this array should be 5, right? There are 5, size is 5, and it is an array of integers. So each element is an integer. So integer takes 4 bytes. So how many bytes required for this complete array? 20 bytes, right? 5 into 4, 20 bytes. So this is the 20 contiguous memory will be allocated to this array, right? And x is the base address. So if this memory is starting from 1000, then x means 1000. X is actually, if you write x, then it's actually it means that the base address of this array, that is which means 1000 base address. Okay, so if x is the base address, then base address means also the base address of x0, right? Address of x0. So the next element will start from 1004, because one element need 4 bytes. So next element is 1004, x2 is at 1008, x3 at 1012, x4 at 1016. Okay, so now if this part is clear, then let us go to the next here. Assume that p is a pointer, star p, integer star p. Consider p is a pointer like integer star p. So here if we write x equal to address of x0 equal to 1000, it means x and address of x0 are same thing. We will write a program and we'll try to print, means if we write this line in my program, and after this line if I try to print the value of x, or if I try to print the value of address of x0, then it will print 1000. If it is starting from base address, actually it will print base address, not 1000, because as I said, memory allocation address is not fixed. It's every time it will change, right? And now if I write integer p is a pointer, p equal to x, then p will store the address of x. So let me write the code, then only you will understand it properly. So what I'll do here, I'll change this code to suppose integer a. Okay, let me go for the same code. So I'll write x 1 2 3 4 5. This is the array, right? And I am also taking a pointer integer p. Okay, so now pointer means, in my last class I explained that pointer is also a variable. Like if we write integer star p, then there will a variable will be created in your memory, or a memory will be allocated for this variable p, right? This part is, there is no difference between normal pointer, normal variable and pointer variable. The moment you write this, a memory will be allocated for p. But what you can store in that memory? In that memory you can only store the address of another integer variable, right? Because the integer pointer. So if I say here, let me write one line here, then everything will be clear to you. uh, Value of address, value of x, value of x is, let me print it for you. And the next line is value of address of x0 is address of x0. What do you think? Do you think this both the values will be same? Let me print. Uh, it is running. See, the values are same. It means that this array, this particular array is allocated from this is the base address of this array. So base address means every time if we write x, this is the base address, and the base address is also the address of x0, right? If you go to this diagram, then you will understand that if this is the base address of the array, then this is the address of x0 also. So in this sense, you can say that x and address of x0 are same. So in now if I write here, means maybe after this two line, uh, or maybe here if I write p equal to x, if I write p equal to x, and then here if I try to print the value of p, the value of p is, and what do you think what it will print? You know what it will the first two printf, what the first two printf will print. So now the only concern is what is the output of the third printf. Third printf is printing the value stored in P. So what value stored in P? Concentrate on line number 7. What it is written? It is written P equal to X. Do you think this line is valid or not? First of all, first you have to understand that what value we can store in P. P is a pointer of integer. So only a address of an integer can be stored. X is an address of integer. Why X is an address of integer? Let me run this code and then I will explain. See, it is showing the same result. Why? Because x is the base address of array. Also x is the address of the first element, that is address of the x0. So you can say x is x and x0 are same thing. So the address x0 x, that means this, it is storing an integer value. So since it is storing an integer value, so the address of that can be stored in P. Okay, so you can write p equal to x. The moment you write p equal to x, in variable p, the address of x will be stored. So it is printing the same thing. So now let me make it more complex. If I go even more deep, and if I write this value of, suppose if I write percent d value of p1, suppose write value of p1, and if I write here, um, if I write here star p, sorry, not value of, suppose p is 0. What do you think value of, suppose star or value of nothing, value is percentage. So what do you think the line number 12, what it will print, what value it will print? Star p. What do you understand by star p here? Value stored at address p. The value of value stored at the address stored in P indirectly, right? Or you can say the means you what the star P, the meaning of star P I have explained in my last class. What I said, star P means first of all you have to go and check what is the value stored in P variable, and that value is actually an address. So you have to go to that address and collect the value stored in that address. So what value stored in P? The value stored in P is the address of X. So star P means we have to go to the address of x and then print the value stored there. So what is the address stored in P? Address stored in P is this. And what is the value stored in this particular address? This particular address, it is the value that is x0. So what is x0? X0 is 1, right? So this line will print 1. Let me see, it is printing 1. And instead of this, instead of this line, I'm one by one, I'm making it complex to explain you something. If here instead of this, if I write x0, then also what it will print? In this case also it will print 1, right? So the last two results are both are printing 1 1. So I hope you are understanding it. If anything is not clear, what you can do, you can pause my video, check this code, you can write this code in a plain paper and also try to understand it. And the same concept that I am explaining is also written in the book. Okay, now let me make it some more complex. What if I write here address of x1? What do you think what it will print? Address of x1. the next address, right? If this is the base address, the next address should start from 84, right? If the 80, next address should start from 84. Let me run this code. See, if it is 80, then it is starting from 84. I think this is clear. Now let me make it another interesting point here, and let me add another interesting point. If I add here p plus 1, then what it will print? What do you think? What will the output of line 15? P plus 1. You know what is p, right? P is the p and base address of array are same because of line number 7. P equal to x. So after p equal to x, you know the base address of x, that means x and p are same thing. So base address is same. So 6422280 is stored in p. But if we write p plus 1, then what it will print? Do you think it will print after 80 plus 1 means 81 or not? Let me run this code, you'll understand. See, it is not printing 80. See, the value of p is actually this 2280. The value of p is 2280, but value of p plus 1 is 84. Why? Because p is a integer pointer. P is a pointer of integer. So if p is a pointer of integer, then incrementing a pointer doesn't mean it will increment by a digit, by one digit. Means if it is 4, then doesn't mean that it will go for 5. Okay. If you increment a pointer, then it will increment the value by a size of that particular variable. So if it is an integer pointer, then it will always increment the pointer by adding 4 bytes. So if the current if p is pointing 20, then if you write p plus 1, then if it is an integer pointer, then it will go p plus 1 means 24. If you go for p plus 2, then it will go for 28, like this. Okay. So here address of x1 and p plus 1 are same thing. You have to remember it. It's depend on this value. So here, if your pointer is for if there is a pointer of character, then character takes 1 byte, right? So in that case, if p is 10, then p plus 1 will be 11. So I hope you're understanding what I am saying. If you are not getting it, then you can repeat this particular part of this video. Okay. Now let me print add one more line here. If I write this, what will be the output of the last line? X1. What is the value of X1? 2. It should print 2, right? I think it is printing the old one. Let me run it again. Something. Okay. Sorry. See, this is the final output. See, it is printing 2. That is clear. There is nothing new here. But you know what the address of x1 and address of p plus 1 are same thing, right? So can we print the same value, that is, can we access this element using this pointer p? Yes, we can. If we write this p plus 1, you know p plus 1 means which address? The address of x2. So if I write this star p plus 1, it means p plus 1 is the address. This is the pointer, so this is the address. P plus 1 is the address is this. P plus 1 means address of these two. It means this 6422284, and then star means value stored in this address, so it will also print 2. Let me run this code for you. See, it is also printing 2. So it means that writing x1 and writing star p plus 1 are same thing. So in generic way, if I go here in, let me suppose you have a integer x, suppose something is written, and now if you write integer star p equal to x, now writing xi, okay, writing xi and writing p plus I, these two are same thing. These two are same thing, and uh, these two are same thing. Address of xi, and instead of writing extra xi, if you write p plus I, then they are same thing. So p plus I and address of xi are same thing, and xi and star p plus I are same thing. So that's why there is a relation between array and pointer, and that that particular point is trying to explain in this section of this chapter. If you now read this section, the same thing is written, so I'm skipping it. You can see they have also shown some examples similar in the same way that I have shown you with a program. Try to read all these things, then only the every part will be cleared. Now let me go for 2D array. So before going to 2D array, before writing any program for 2D array, I'll explain it from here. Suppose this is a 2D array. There are five columns and rows and five columns. So if I want to represent this, we can write. Suppose this is an array. So this array is actually, suppose integer x 6 5. Sorry, yeah, 6 5. This is no, 6 means 7, right? In index is 6 means it is 7 7 6. This is the size of this 2D array. So here if I use a pointer like integer star p equal to x, if I write this, then after this line, p and x are same thing. P and x means p also means the base address of this array, and x means also base address. So base address means address of the first row, right? So, and p plus I means address of the second, at p plus 1 means address of the second row, and p plus I means address of the ith row. See, it is written here. And if you want to, if you write, suppose like this, so if I write star pi, so first let me write, start from p plus I. What p plus I means? P plus I means pointer of the ith row. Okay, and if I write star p plus I, so there is a difference between 1D array and 2D array. So in case of 1D array, this will give you the value of that array, but here not the case because it's a 2D array. So in 2D array, this means another pointer. In case of 2D array, if you write star p plus I, then it means the pointer of the first element of this ith row. So it will not give you the actual element of first element of ith row. It will give you the pointer of this. So if we want to access the first any element, then you have to again write star then plus j. If you write this, then you can access. Writing this and writing, I think writing x I j are same thing. Either you can go for this or you can go for this. So you just remember this thing, that if you want to, instead of writing this, if you know this is how you can access a particular element of 2D array, instead of writing this, you can also write this. You can also write this, but don't be confused, because here you can see if you remove this pointer, then it's not a value, then these two are not same in this case. Now let me use another line here to explain you the point. So now in this case, if I remove this pointer here, then this is not an element, this is also a pointer. Actually this pointer means this is actually pointing to which address? It is pointing to the address of this. These and these are same thing. These and sorry, uh, these are same thing. It means if you write star p plus I plus j, then it means it's the address of this element. So address of x I j and writing these are same thing. So what is happening? Maybe this 1D array and the connection of pointer was clear to you, but maybe you will get confused here. So don't be confused. Only one thing you have to remember for here, or not, sorry, just two things. First, if this is a 2D array, you can assign a pointer like star p equal to x. If you assign a pointer like this, then p and x both are pointing to the same base address of this array. I think this part is clear. Next, if you want to access any element like this x I j, instead of these, you can also use this symbol. I think this part you can memorize, or you can understand, you can remember, right? So if you can remember this part, then I think then that will be enough for now. Again, I think this I will explain this point again when I will explain array of pointers. But I think this point is clear. So if this point is clear, then I will again explain other point. But always remember these 2 points are important. If you understand these 2 points, that is also enough. But again, read this again. P is the pointer of the first row. P plus I is the pointer of the ith row. Then star P plus I is the pointer of the first element. Then star P plus I plus J is the pointer of the jth element of the ith row. Yes, I am saying, but all these things are pointer. All these things are pointer in terms of two-dimensional array. None of them will give you value. To access a value, you have to write star, then again star P plus I plus J. Then this is equivalent to Xij. I hope it is clear. I'm not writing any program for this, but you have to write a program for this and you have to check it, because in the class test and quiz, maybe I'll ask this type of questions, that what will be the output. Maybe I'll write an expression like this and I'll ask you what will be the output. So you have to understand the program and you have to write the correct answer. Okay. And one more announcement here. Announcement is your next quiz will be in this week, most probably Friday or Saturday. So I'll separately announce it in Google Classroom also. Maybe some of you will miss this particular point from this lecture, so I'll separately announce it in Google Classroom. But yes, there will be a class test this week, but that I'll not cover pointer. I'll That will be still structure, up to structure. Okay. So this is how it there is some more example about two-dimensional arrays. What I advise you that you try to understand it by yourself, but I have already explained the connection between array and pointers. Okay. Pointer and character string. So character string, or string means array of characters, right? It's the same thing. So there is the in my previous, I think after before 2 3 classes, I've explained you how to write a string in C programming. So this is the syntax, right? Actually we store string as a array of character. So character str5 good. If you write like this, then you are initializing an array, but the size of this string is 4. But we have to go declare a array size of 5, because there is always a invisible null character at the end of every string. So but instead of these you can also go for like this. That means character star str equal to goat. It means that there will be a string, it will be stored in memory, and the pointer of that memory will be assigned, will be stored here in str1. So indirectly there is the same thing. If we go for this one str5 array, then array will be allocated, right? One, two, three, there are five. There will be five element in this array. But here, if you go for character str, then what will happen? This is a string constant, right? This is a string constant, or this is a string. So that string will be stored first of all in a memory. Again, it is storing in memory means it is stored in an array, and the address, the first address of that string will be stored in str. So ultimately, the things are same. Ultimately, the things are same. So by using str here in this way or this way, there are same thing. So either you can go for this or this, both are same. So let me write a code for you here to show you some clarity about strings. Character, then I'll not go for this str and str. I'll go for a and str. Let us go for a string. Sorry, I'll go for st, then 5 code. Okay, and then there is a character pointer p, which is storing st, suppose. Then I think this is clear to you. If I try to guess the output, percent s st, and if I write percent s star p, do you think both will print good? Run it. See, only one is printing, another is not printing. Right. So why it is not printing? Because if you remember when I have explained array of string, that in that case here also what you are writing st means you are giving the base address, you are not giving st0. St0 is not an address, it's an value stored in st, the first element of array, but whenever you write st, you are giving base address. So if you write base address, then base address that is st, and after this line and equal to p, right? If you write p and st are same thing. If you remember, if you understood my previous example, then I think it is clear to you that if you want to write st, then the corresponding thing is p, because if you write p, then it means that the value stored in and in this pointer variable p, and what value is stored in pointer variable p? Address of base address of this array. So in both case it will print, see, it will print good. Okay, this part is clear. So after this you can also use the similar concept. Now let me go for another thing here. If I go for search in, then what will be the output of st and p? See, first one is printing st. Okay, fine. Second one is printing a second string, because now p is pointing. This Sachin is a separate string. It is stored in memory, and the first address of that that string is now will be assigned to p, and now that's why p is printing Sachin. Okay, this is clear. One more thing is which is also important. As suppose if we have a if we declare a variable like this, so this we can store a string. So now here if I write printf enter your name, and then there is a scanf, okay, percent s, and then st, your name will be stored here, and now you can print your name, right? Let me run this code for you. So here I can write my name, and it will print my name, right? This part is clear. Now instead of this, if you go for I am commenting this line, and instead of this, if I go for character star p, and if I go for percentage p, okay, and do you think the code will work? Okay, let us run and then decide. Enter your name. See, it is not working. See, it is not working. After writing name, it is not able to store here. Why? Can you guess the problem here? The problem here is, if you go for this previous example, or you can previous example is not here, so let me go to the book. Previous example was like this, right? Character star p equal to good. So what I said at that time, that this string will be stored first of all in memory, this string, and the base address of that string will be stored to this str. In our case it was star p. So in this, and so indirectly I am doing the same thing, but here this line means this is an array, and the base address of this array is str. So there is a slight difference. So whenever you declare an array, so that means even if you go for str5 equal to, this is how you can initialize the array. And without initializing also, if you just directly write a array like this character st5, or if I try to relate this and this, suppose if I write character str5, if I just like the write this and I don't initialize it, then also a memory will be allocated in your computer memory for of size 5, means of size 5 into 4 or 5 into 1, right? Character, a memory will be allocated, but the value stored in that memory is garbage. I hope I have explained you this point when I have explained you the array concept, right? This is actually declaring the array. But if I write this, then first of all I'm in declaring an array, and then I'm storing good a value to that array. So in this case my memory is also allocated, but instead of this line, if I just write character star p, if I just write this not equal to code, if I just write this, then it means it will only create a variable p, and then that variable is ready to store address of another character variable, but it has not allocated any array, it has not allocated any memory to store the string. Okay, That's why you have to understand what I am saying. If you write this particular line, then first of all code will be stored in memory and base address will be stored to this pointer. That is fine. But if you just write star p, then a variable p will be created which is the pointer of character, and that variable is ready to store address of a character variable, right? So there is no memory has been reserved for array. So and now, so let us go this code. What I am doing here, character star p, and then I am trying to store an string to this p, which is not correct. You cannot store a string to this p because p is just able to hold the base address of this p. So you cannot do this. So in that case, what you can do, you have to always go for a character st like this. If you want to go for scanf, okay, and then you have to store here st. Done. After this, if you write this, then it is perfectly normal. Why? Because here you have initial, the moment you write this, array is created and you know the base address is already available, and then here you have stored something to this array, that is also fine. And after this, here you are assigning, you have also declared a variable p which is a pointer variable, and it is ready to store a base address of a character string, sorry, a character. So and so here I am storing star p equal to st. So now it is perfectly fine. That will print your name. So write your name. If I sorry, not here. If I write my name here, see, it is printing session. So there are some small concept in pointer and you have to understand it. That's why I said that pointer is not an easy thing. It's a complicated part of C programming, and no teacher can clear it. Every concept, I cannot clear all the concept of programming to you. It will take at least 10-15 lectures only on I have to spend on pointer. I think then only I can able to give justice to this complete concept. So what I'm advising you, that read from the book. At least try to understand all the concept written in this book first, and then if anything is not clear, you can ask me. I'll try to explain. And also there are lots of examples and lots of concepts there in internet regarding C pointers. You can also follow this. But for exam purpose, at least whatever written in book should be clear to you. Okay. And then after this, the next is arrays of pointer. The arrays of pointer I will explain you in next class, not today, otherwise you will confuse. But after arrays of pointer, next point I will discuss today, there is function that return multiple values. I'll not write any code for this, that I'll just explain it, because the content of this subsection is already explained. Normally you know that a function can only return one value, right? Normally how will write a function, suppose there is a function of sum, then I will write, or how will write a function of sum. We'll write it like this now: integer sum, then integer a comma integer b, and then from here maybe we'll write return a plus b, right? So this function will return a single value a plus b. Yeah, this integer value. This means which what the function is returning a single integer value. So in this way, you can never return two values from a function. But is it possible somehow? That is there any alternative way? That alternative way is the call by reference, and I have explained you what is called call by reference, right? So this is an example of call by reference. I'm not writing any code to you because I have already explained you what is called call by reference. So go to my previous lecture and try to find out what I have explained you in call by reference. And if you remember, when I was explaining call by reference, I told you that I was written this type of syntax, and at that time I said just write it. Star, star. I said just write it, you'll understand it later. Now after this point, go back to my previous code where I was explaining call by reference, then I think you will understand it. Why I was written star star. I will not explain anything here. Or I will only say that if you want to return multiple values from a function, you can go for call by reference. And now I am advising you to go to my previous video where I was explaining call by reference, and then you will understand everything. Why I was writing star here, why I was writing star here, why I was writing passing address here. Everything will be clear to you. So this is your home assignment. Why I'm giving home ungraded home assignment every time? Because these are important for the concept as well as for exam. Okay, so I'm stopping here. Next class I'll start with array of pointer, and I'll try to complete this chapter. If anything remains, then I'll cover it in the next class. Okay, thank you for watching this video.